Now we go to the module one of basic concepts of C programming. So as I mentioned, it's a general purpose programming language, been around for 50 years. It is used to write everything from operating systems, including your Windows and many other operating systems were built on C program, to a complete programs like Python interpreter, even your Git, Oracle, database, everything is built on C programming. The versatility of C to the design, it can be a low level language and it can closely relate to the machines that it is working on. So a next quiz question here is C is, then you have options like client side programming scripting language, photo editing program, and then the third option is a general purpose programming language. And correct answer for this is a general purpose programming language. So this is the program that we return first, hello world program. Every programming language will always start with this, and every electronic circuit will always start with blinking of LED. So when you are a computer engineer, you can write this code. That means you can learn this language. So the first line we have written called include stdio.h, which defines the standard input outputs, and it is needed because this library contains this function called printf. Then there is something called as slash n for new line, but we are printing only one line, so that's why slash n we didn't put in the program, but that is for the new line and it will not get printed. The output will be only hello world, and it is the function through which you can run the code. So again, you will not see these two extra things over here because you have written only one. And then return zero. So a program will always start with main loop. Without main, you should not have any program. This is the main requirement of any programming language, that where it should run. Then if your program is returning something, you have to write some variable like int. If it is not returning anything, you can write void. And we have already seen how to run this program. We included two more libraries called conio and stdlib, which are not needed for this program, but just for having good habit of including multiple libraries, we started this. Some of you might have missed this space bar, still there was no error thrown, but it is always better to put this space here. And you might have realized that this includes I should be small, even this printf p should be small. So these are the mistakes people do make while returns are, they become capital and so on. So case sensitivity is there. So I would always recommend to practice to type a code as given. So including spaces and everything. Okay. So you cannot change the type of brackets that are used. You cannot miss out on semicolons. You cannot miss out on type of the curly braces. Next question is fill in the blanks to include stdio dot header. So the answer is pretty simple. Include stdio dot h. Now we come to a basic data types in C programming. So C programming supports different data types. Now what is the data type? First is integer. Now in maths we have already learned what is the integer. It is a number. Something like 42 is an integer, whereas 42.5 is not an integer. So integer is like a whole number. And then the second type is float. Now float is like this number where you have your decimal points included. Then comes a double. So typically float and double are one and the same, except float is 16 and this is 32. So its size on the memory is doubled. So obviously the range through which this can store the values can be doubled. And then there is something called as char, which is character. So now to find out what are the different things, what we have to do is include stdio.h, that we always do. Int main, start a curly bracket. then printf int colon percentage d. So now we are going to try out this size of int. So it will generate what is the size of int, and we will see that. Then you type printf float colon size of float, then printf double percent sign size of double, sorry, size of float, size of double, and size of char, and we will verify what is the returned output from the code blocks. So let's start typing this code, and I will also do it with you because it's just your second code. I will also stop recording and we will try out this code.